Hey everyone, welcome back to Just Conversations, solution-focused communication with a goal of informing systemic change, episode 8. Dr. Jaspreet Saini. He needs no introduction as always. So over to you, Doc.
Stephen, thank you very much for having me on. It's a real pleasure. As you said, my name's Jas, or Dr. Jaspreet Saini, whichever you prefer. I'm born and bred in Blacktown, or born in India actually, and pretty much born and bred in Blacktown. I came here when I was 2 years old with my family. My parents came here as skilled migrants, and I've been here ever since. Went to the local public school and have since gone through a number of little journeys into my current role, which is as clinic director of a place called Healthcare. Healthcare is a neighbourhood health hub. We look after patients as a general practice in our own right. We also support the surrounding practices in our area, of which there's about 30 that we're supporting right now. Our interest really then is in helping people not just with their healthcare, but understanding the social factors that might play a role, and really giving a comprehensive package of care. Let's say you've got a patient with diabetes, but they've also got 9 or 10 other things that are going on in their lives. We're not going to be able to impact diabetes until we address other factors. So just like what you're doing, Dean, our journey is getting to understand people, getting to know them, getting to know what their priorities are and helping them through that.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction into you and the work that you do, and that's sort of where our overlap come from. Hearing you share at the Blacktown is an excellent. Can you
Blacktown Exercise, Sports and Technology Hub?
Yes,
or best for sure.
Yes, yeah, which is an amazing place. It really was a great day out there to see the way that you guys were working. And, the reason why I wanted to get you on was because I feel like you're doing things a bit differently. And that's what this is about, solutions focus. So just what excites you about the work that you do?
Dean, look, I suppose much like yourself, I'm an optimist, I'm an idealist, I'm a realist. It's a mix of all three. But my priority always has been finding solutions. Now, you can't find solutions until you understand what the frustrations are. That's really important, right? Healthcare professionals are working in settings where overwhelm, burnout, suicide rates are very high. There is a lot of pressure that takes away the joy and richness of our work. We're often working in silos, we're often working in our own little offices or consult rooms. And on the surface, there's actually very little interaction between one healthcare provider and another. Right. Now, we know in order to provide the level and standard of care necessary to really affect health outcomes for what is currently 8 hours worth of patients would take between 16 to 24 hours of our day. Right.
Wow.
So that's not very efficient. But that's looking at it with a constrained perspective of what can one person do. What does that look like when you bring people together? What does that look like when you have a team of health professionals working together to actively support you as a patient, support you, support your carers, support your family, right? We can do that 16 hours in 8 hours, maybe less, right? Yeah. That's efficiency. That's actually that excitement of what does working as a team genuinely look like and how do we impact the lives of our communities, right? So for me, it's team-based care, but it's also using technology, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's simple booking platforms, appointment booking platforms, just really simple stuff that will make a big difference and take the pressure off the admin work and allow us, me to be able to, let's say you're in a consult room with me, Dean, you don't want me looking at my computer. You don't want me typing away. You want me talking to you. You want me looking in your eyes. You want me to have a genuine conversation with you. You want me to understand what's going on in your life. You want me to actually make a difference in your life, right? So I need my technology to be able to support me to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point because, on that precipice of technology at the moment and everything that's happening with AI and the wonderful thing that it's capable of, but it still interrupts the humanity. at a certain point. It's where does that humanity get interrupted, and how do you not let it interrupt those personal, humane points of contact? Yeah.
Absolutely, and you're quite right. It is being cognizant of the interruptions that can occur. Technology, when it works well, should be seamless, right? You and I know, and your audience knows that that's not often the case, right? It can get in the way. And how many times, Dean, have you been to your doctors where your doctor's looking at the computer and typing?
Yeah, typing away, almost in the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick interruption there.
You're right. Hey,
No.
authenticity. I'm all about it, mate. Don't worry.
Fantastic, excellent. Yeah, look, exactly, and I think the reality is that what your doctor is doing is actually very important, right? The doctor is typing notes about your healthcare, right, and they're notes that are going to be relied on by other people in your team. So that's crucial work, right? But it's interrupting the eye contact. It's interrupting the relationship building, and that's a problem, right? And we now have tools that can help us not do that.
Yeah.
Again, they can
So
help me
are they
look.
voice recordings and stuff? Like, is that what it's sort of looking like at the moment?
Well, exactly. That's right. So, it's voice recordings, absolutely. So, our software platform, which is we're currently using best practice software, our software platform has an artificial intelligence tool built into it that can capture voices and notes in a very safe and confidential way, and turn that into consultation notes. So rather than me typing up the consult, I can talk to you. The machine does the work,
Yeah.
which is really exciting.
Yeah. That is exciting. So it's almost technology is allowing the humane contact.
That's exactly right. But it's more than that, Dean. It's also pre and post planning of a consultation, right? So let's say, look, the typical consult with a male, right? There's always a difference between men and women when it comes to consultations. Men like to be able to say what's on their mind. What we know is that the typical doctor will interrupt patients within about the first 30 seconds of the consultation, right? That interruption is actually quite harmful because you're not able to say your full what's on your mind. And the doctor is sort of cognizant of the need to get through a consultation within a certain amount of time. So pre-planning tools, we've got one that we use at the moment, actually allow you to capture your thoughts on paper. Right? You get a survey before the consultation. You get to say whatever's on your mind. Now you might not be comfortable doing that. You can opt out of that. But it at least allows you another platform to write down what you have to say so that you can be sure that it's actually going to be spoken about in the consultation.
Yeah, nice work. So where are you experiencing the most friction? So just in systemic change, there's always friction, innovation, innovative evolution, sort of that's what I'm talking about. So where are you getting the most sort of friction, and aware of that friction in the work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Dean, look, one of the basic foundations of any system is the right funding model. Currently the way Medicare works and the way the MBS works, the Medicare Benefit Schedule, is that you're funded on an episodic basis, right? You're funded on episodes of care. Right. So what that means essentially is the patient comes in, sees a doctor, and there's an item number associated with the amount of time that it takes for the consultation. Right. So what that does is it actually encourages you to have one-on-one consultations. Yeah. Now, effectively, that means that you're disincentivized for bringing in other team members into that care.
Yeah.
Because there's no money associated with that. Right?
Yeah.
So now what's starting to happen is that the government is starting to recognise that there are different ways of working and that there's in fact better ways of funding the healthcare system so that we can incentivise the right things. So we know we need to incentivise quality improvement. We know we need to incentivise team-based care. We know we need to incentivise data and data-driven improvement as well. So more and more, your general practice is going to start looking at data for diabetes or heart disease or lung disease, right? They're going to start thinking about, well, how do we improve the health of our population as a whole, right? Rather than just you and me, Dean, in a consultation room, it's, let's say you've got a particular issue, let's say you've got diabetes. We're going to start looking at people with diabetes as a whole and say, well, look, these are the number of people that have a diabetes control above this number, which means it's suboptimal, which means it needs improvement. So what resources do we need to put in place in order to improve the health of our entire patient population?
Yeah, nice. And I think that's the other thing that I heard you talk about at the symposium the other weeks ago. It was just that holistic approach, and even like the prescribing walking and health, like the activity and all those sorts of things over and above. Here's some medicine, go away, sort of, that old, for big pharma driven sort of scenario. It's like, no, like we can do this through some exercise and some movement. And how can we get a group of people together? And like that's what that hub's about, essentially. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So we know that the things that genuinely make a difference for people are the basics, right? It's time spent with loved ones, crucial, right? Time spent in nature, being outdoors. I see your photos all the time, Dean. It's fantastic. You're actually getting out there, you're getting about. That's health. That's good health. That's what health is about. Exercise, whether it's walking, whether it's rowing, whatever it is, right? Whether it's just movement. Now, different people have different exercise capacities as well. Eating a balanced diet, healthy food makes a big difference as well. So there's a ton of lifestyle factors that we can address before we even start thinking about medications.
Yeah, I love that.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah. Mm. And you got to say that medications are crucial as well, right? So we need to have a healthy relationship with the pharmaceutical industry. They invest a lot of money into researching drugs and various medications, and there's a ton of good work that goes into that. But all industries need to be sustainable and financially sustainable, and that's the same with the pharmaceutical industry. It's the same with the medical industry as well. So we need to find ways to step outside of our own industries and say, what's going to help people as a whole? What's actually going to make a difference to people? And how do we align ourselves against a common vision? And what we attended, the Moving Symposium, was exactly about that, right? It was how do we get people moving?
Yeah.
And these are various organisations that can see themselves as being aligned around that common purpose. Yeah, and you were part of that as well, Dean.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I enjoyed about that, and the thing I enjoyed about connecting with you is that open-minded, holistic approach that it's not really a one size fits all. I like to say it's a one size fail all solution. Like if we're aimed and target at trying to just, hey, this is what works and this is what you get, and you don't get upset. They're dangerous, sort of old sort of rhetorics that we have. So yeah, it really excites me to know that there are doctors and medical professionals that are willing to sort of open their eyes to the broader picture. So yeah, thank you for that work that you're doing. One other question is, if you could change one thing that would have the most amount of impact in the work that you would do, what would it be? Like what would it be, and sort of how would you go about changing that?
Sure. But Dean, I think for me, the biggest thing is listening, right? Listening to people, understanding their perspectives. I don't think it happens enough, right? I could tell you all sorts of more fancy things that I'd be working on, but listening is crucial because we all have.
It's like so.
It's at the core.
And I'm interrupting you as I'm saying that, but I love hearing it. Keep going.
It's crucial because everyone's got a different background, everyone's got different experiences, everyone's grown up a different way, everyone's been through different challenges, right? Everyone's got a different life story. Until we take the time to listen to people and understand where they're from, we can't help get them where they want to go. It just can't happen, right? So if I had a strong message in healthcare, it would be I would want people to listen. And I would want people to feel listened to, right? I want you to go into any doctor's room across the country and you're looked after by a team, and you come out of the consultation feeling genuinely listened to, right? That person really took the time to understand my concerns, and beyond that, also asked me questions beyond what I was even thinking about, right? You go in for a blood pressure check, I want you to get the full service.
Yeah. And that's the value of the listening is the value of the connection and the communication. Like that's where the work is, because when I feel heard, it creates a sense of safety, and then I'm able to share a little bit more about myself, and that's when you get the good stuff. Because they could come in and I've got a sore toe, and it's all about the toe. It's all about the toe. Oh yeah, and then like you can see the wound that they've got on their head, but they're worried about the toe. So you have that conversation, and it just goes from there. Just that human connection, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And again, there's that perverse incentive as well, Dean, right? You might see the gashing wound, but you've got 15 minutes to address the toe.
Yeah.
Now, that's a very obvious thing because you have to deal with a gashing wound. You don't have a choice. It's right in front of you, right? But the thing that gets overlooked is mental health.
Yeah.
Right? You might give me a few cues and say, look, I'm not feeling well or I'm not 100%. And I might say, got another 2 minutes to deal with this. All right, let's fix your toe.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Right.
The
So
time constraints, I don't envy, mate.
yeah, but there are ways and means, right? So, for example, the consult planning tool, you may or may not choose to share that before the consultation, but at least it means that we can plan out what the priorities you've expressed are, and then we can book you back in for a follow-up consultation. We can be clever around that, right? I would usually say to someone, look, this is really important, and we can't rush through this during the time that we have left. It's not okay because I need to be able to hear you. I need to be able to listen to you, right? So let's book in a follow-up. So we have follow-ups. It's a wonderful tool to be able to spend more time with
you. Yeah, and that's back to that whole thing again about human connection, and then that's what I'm trying. Like the work that I'm trying to do is innovative evolution. So what's innovative and how is that evolving in the space at the moment? And then how can I introduce humane approaches and practices, mainly into my work is traumatic environments, and how can I introduce joy? Because I think for me, having lived experience of the justice system and all sorts of traumatic experiences throughout my life, how can I introduce joy and hope, and what brings me hope? Because I feel, from my personal experience, when I lose hope, I become animalistic. When I was in active addiction and all those sorts of things, I'm a base level, just like, and it's not about being a big tough guy. It's about I'm just coming to get what I need, and I don't care who's in front of me. And then I hurt a lot of other people. So, how can we collectively come together and increase community capacity, which it sounds like that's what you're trying to do. How do we increase communities' capacities or community capacity in the best interest of everybody? Yeah. And I think for me, that's what I hear from you and what you're trying to achieve. Yes.
Absolutely, Dean. And I think you've hit on and such an important message there regarding hope, right? I think that's shared vocabulary for us, right? Hope is so crucial in the healthcare profession. We're dealing with death and dying on a daily basis. We're dealing with morbidity. We're dealing with people suffering through all sorts of health challenges. But hope is always possible, right? You can always draw from hope. You can always draw strength from hope. It's just understanding how we give that to people and how we give that to ourselves. Right? So, such an important. I mean, I think we could spend another couple of hours just talking about hope alone.
Yeah, I think these are the things, like you said. Listening is the most valuable thing, and sort of that simplicity in that, and the simplicity and hope, and you're doing all this other great sort of level up here sort of work, which is needed. However, if we just get that back to the core of listening and hope and instances of joy and those sorts of embedding that in all of our practices, I think we're going in the right direction.
I think getting the foundations right, as you say, Dean, is crucial. And exactly, but we can overlay that with amazing technology and amazing new ways of working. But as I say to the team here, that our foundations are actually hope, healing, recovery, love, compassion. Those emotions that are universal to all of us.
Yeah, and they're not things that you usually hear coming out of a GP's practice. It's like you've got 15 minutes. Lloyd, you're next. Like sort of scenario, like it's her cattle in, cattle out sort of scenario. And that I understand the time constraints as dictated by the funding models. So yeah, great to touch on that. But just to circle back, hearing you talk about the somewhat isolationist and loneliness of being a GP in a consulting room, what do you do to fill your cup, and how do you model that behavior to either your family, to your patients, to your colleagues? Like what's filling your cup up? Because it's important for me to show and behave in ways that I expect others to.
Great question, Dean. Probably a difficult question to answer, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah. Look, general practice can be incredibly isolating in the sense that you can end up working in a room on your own with your patients and not see your colleagues for an entire day. Yeah, that's your traditional way of building a general practice. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. So part of our work at Healthy Care is actually increasing those moments of connection, the instances of connection, as you said. And there's a few ways that we do that. One way is warm handovers, right? So a warm handover is where you're actively going out to other team members and saying, look, this is Dean, this is his story, and this is what I want you to do to contribute to his care, as an example. So we can absolutely build those moments of connection within our day-to-day practice. The other is actually creating more of a system and structure for conversation. So we have huddles. Huddles are opportunities for us, and you might know about them. Yeah, they're opportunities.
Work too. Yep.
Yeah. So they're opportunities for us to get together, and for us in general practice, it's looking at the patients that are booked in for the day or the next 2 days, and talking about their stories and talking about their opportunities and what we can be doing to support them. Right. And so that's really valuable. And of course, our team meetings are really crucial as well, and we have those once a week. The other part of your question was, how do I take that into other aspects of my life? If I heard you correctly, Dean, is that right?
How do you fill your cup up? What brings you joy?
Yeah.
What do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, all right. Look, for me, my morning routine is really important. Dean, I'm a father to triplets.
Hey. My mind's just blank. Congratulations and commiserations.
Thank you. Yeah. So my little girls are almost 6 now, and so so you start the day with gratitude and just thankfulness that I'm in this family and I get to grow with my daughters. That's really important. Gratitude is crucial, and then I'll follow that with my morning exercise. So the promise that I made to them and to myself when they were born was that I would never let them be a weakness for me. I'd always let them, have them be a strength.
Yeah, wow.
Right, and so part of that was, part of that was I would make sure that I never stop exercising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since they were born, I've been exercising regularly, whether it's running. I'm about to run a half marathon in May and a full marathon hopefully in September. So that's on the cards. So training for that, having a goal in mind and actually working towards that goal is really nice. And travel, I enjoy travel. We go on cruises. We spend some time in Australia, and Australia is a beautiful country, and there's a lot of things to do in Australia. And I suppose the other thing is just social connection, right? So catching up with friends, catching up with mates. doing nice things. Let's say, for example, our neighbours have been overworked for the last few months, and they haven't been able to leave their house or their room, and so my dad and I jumped in on the weekend and just mowed their lawn. Just something simple that we could do, just the gesture of kindness and acts of kindness, they really fill me out.
Yeah. Wow. That's just, that's filled me, hearing that's filled me up. I didn't realize it was triplets that you had. I knew that you had daughters, but I didn't realize they were triplets. So wow. What a blessing, mate. Like you said.
Thank you.
And that they all come and they all survive. Like, that's a miracle in itself, isn't it? Like that they all
Miracle.
alive, safe, healthy, sound, happy. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
congratulations to your wife. What a trooper.
Absolutely. She's done extraordinarily well, and you understand the sheer power of motherhood, and how important a mother is.
The greatest gift I was ever given. I birthed my last, youngest child at home with my now ex-wife, but we had just in a birthing pool, us two at home. It was hands down the greatest experience of my life, and the gift that was for me will never be lost, and the power that of birth and creation and that women have in that space, I do not envy.
I think you're right. To bear witness to that, Dean, it's you don't forget that. It's a very special moment.
Yeah. Our time is coming to an end. So thank you very much, because I know how valuable your time is. Consultation. So once again, thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, or as insight? Don't have to, but it's up to you. Just around, I really value the holistic approach that you're taking. So yeah.
Look, Dean, I wanted to share a quick story, just touching on your point of which I think is really important. There's a view that that health professionals they're not great at listening, they're not great at understanding, right? Which is contrary to what we, when we did our medical interviews, we said that we were going to be amazing at listening, right? But really we're not. And there was a surprise encounter that I had just when going to my local Woolworths a few weeks ago. So a lady at the front counter had a name tag. For the purposes of this conversation, we're going to call her Michelle. Yeah. And so I have a habit of reading name tags and calling people by their name. I think it's really important. And so I said, Michelle, how you doing? How's your day? And we had a bit of a conversation. And at the end of it, she said, you must work at a call center, or you must be in customer service somewhere. There's something that you're doing that other people don't do. And I said to her, no, I'm a GP. And she said, no, can't be. It's just not possible. GPs do not have customer service skills, right? I was a bit dumbfounded by that, because I have never gone into the profession thinking that there would be anything less than exceptional customer service or patient service. Right. But there is a genuine gap there that I think, as a smaller cohort of health professionals, we're trying to challenge that notion, right? So what I would say to your audience and to you, Dean, is expect your doctors and your healthcare professionals to do better. Expect them to listen to you. Expect them to spend time with you. That's crucial. There's no reason why they shouldn't. If they're not, search elsewhere. Yeah. Either have a candid conversation with them and say, look, I actually expect to be listened to. Or if that's not possible, you deserve the best, your health deserves the best, and your family deserves the best. So spend time finding the right group of experts around you, and make sure that your doctor and your other health professionals meet that description as well.
Yeah, wow. What a wonderful way to leave this, mate. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Look forward to catching up with you again soon, somewhere, sometime. Sure our paths are going to cross in the future, and I look forward to it. Hopefully, I get to meet the three twin or the triplets,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
the wonderful missus. But yeah, look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks again for your time.